Hey everyone, it's Caito, and in today's video, I asked 5 Animal Crossing icons to give me some design tips. So if you're interested in content like this and you want to see more in the future, I'd appreciate if you like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time that I post, but let's get right into it. So I'm over here on Happy Home Paradise today, and because I've been struggling a little bit with designing over here, I was thinking, what can I do to spice things up or give me a little inspiration? So I reached out to 5 of my friends and fellow content creators, Froggy Crossing, Lex Play, Coramora, Tiger, and List the Lass, and I asked them to give me a design tip or some kind of design element that they want me to use in my build today. So that is what we're doing. You're going to get to hear from each of them as well in this video on what they want me to do. So without further ado, let's jump right into this. I'm here, I'm supposed to be building something for Pecan, and obviously I am ignoring her request completely, and we're just going to be building something randomly. So let's start off and let's hear the design tip that Liz wants me to use today.
Hey pals, my name is Liz. I'm going to show you a little something that will really help bring your decorating game up to the next level. You might be looking at my island and thinking, wow, this doesn't look like much. And you're right. I did just start this island, so cut me some slack. But my big decorating tip that I feel like goes overlooked sometimes is to use the in-game pathing. For example, we've got a little farm over here and I put dark dirt underneath it as like tilled soil. And you might not think that's genius or anything, but I feel like sometimes we forget to do little details like this. And it really helps separate the little farming patch from the grass. I also love to use dirt pathing to mark off certain areas. So like I have a cute little parking lot here, a little bit of a work in progress, mind you. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of using in-game pathing, and I want to be its advocate. Hopefully seeing this kind of decorating style has maybe inspired you to do something with the in-game pathing, but that's all I've got. So Liz out. Also, big thank you to Caito for being so amazing and inviting me to be in her video. Loves ya.
I love this tip from Liz because I love an in-game path. I love it so much that my last 2 islands have been covered almost completely with in-game path. So I use it a lot. So this one shouldn't be too hard for me to do. I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I only have 2 options for in-game pathing, because for some reason on this island, I have not unlocked all of the different pathing options. I just haven't spent my miles to get them. I really need to do that, at least the stone option probably. So my thinking is I'm going to do a little dirt path underneath a pergola. That's kind of where my brain went first. I thought about doing a farm, but I recently did some farms over here on my channel, so I wanted to do something different than a farm. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put down some pathing, and we're going to place a pergola on top, and then we will get into the next tip. Okay, next up, let's hear from Cora and see what her tip is.
Hi, I'm Cora, and I pretend to design well. When trying to figure out how you should decorate, keeping a color scheme is super important. New Horizons has a ton of random furniture. It's not like past games where we had complete furniture series that you could create an entire collection with and have it look good. Now we're forced to rely on our own creativity. An easy way to keep everything looking like it belongs is to grab items that are a similar color. You'd be surprised what random furniture actually looks good when you combine it with other furniture, like barrels. Customize everything you can to keep the color scheme going, whether it's brown and green, gray and white, or every color of the rainbow. As long as there's some sort of cohesiveness, you'll be good. You could go all color science-y and check out a color wheel to find complementary, monochromatic, or analogous colors, but that's not really necessary. Just pick some colors that look good together, stick to them, and don't forget about barrels. Barrels are life.
So when thinking about a color scheme for this particular area, I went back and forth on what I wanted to do. I actually started off with customizing the house and based things off that, and I went through so many different customization options trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And ultimately, it came down to a brown color scheme. So I chose a very neutral beige brown house. I changed my pergola to brown, and I'm going to start selecting a bunch of brown items to use. So that's the color scheme I'm going for. I love this tip. I'm all about a good monochromatic color scheme, so I'm all in on the brown. All right, so we have our color scheme picked out. Let's hear from Lex and see what her tip is.
Hello, I'm Lex of Lex Play here on YouTube, and my suggestion/tip for Caito is to add height to any build. So specifically in the background, I think it's very important to have very tall things to add dimension to a build. So get to it, Caito.
Lex wants us to use some height in the build, and look, I can't help myself. When I think height, I immediately think the windmills. Obviously, there are tons of other items you can use for height. I feel like the pergola also adds some height to this build, which is nice. You're gonna see me add in some trees later as well, which helps too. But the windmill is one of the most perfect items. I totally agree with Lex about this. Adding height is so important, and adding varying heights throughout your build will really make it stand out and just elevate your design that much more. All right, next up, let's hear from Raven or Froggy Crossing and see which tip she has for us today.
Hello gamers, it's Froggy Crossing. My biggest design tip is to place custom designs underneath of your furniture and your items that you're placing outside to make them more visually interesting. You see this boring, plain froggy chair? I know, it's almost a crime, right? Well, boom, look at how much it gets elevated when you place a simple custom design under it. It's magical. Put them under your benches, your fences, your beach chairs, even your porta potties?
Okay, so custom patterns, 10 out of 10. I love me a custom pattern. If you haven't checked out, I do have a card where I've compiled a ton of different custom patterns. I try to update it as frequently as I can with the patterns that I'm using on my islands, so check that out. That link is always down in my descriptions if you're looking for more custom patterns to use on your islands. But we're definitely going to be including some custom patterns here, and most specifically, I wanted to add some custom patterns underneath the pergola. The dirt path seemed a little bit bland, so I'm adding some flowers on top of that. I also wanted to add some wooden planks underneath this bathtub item, and I also end up adding some pathing underneath some of the barrels, as well as a picnic blanket, so we are all covered with the custom designs. If I could fill my entire island with custom designs, I would. Okay, and the last suggestion is going to come from Tiger, so let's hear what she has to say.
Hi, it's Tiger. My challenge for you is to combine two fencing, alternate them like I did here on my island with the hedges and the rope fence. I just think it looks really cool and can bring a lot to a build. Good luck, and by the way, everyone, I hope you're having a great day.
I love this tip so much. I love doing an alternating fence. I will say I struggled a little bit including it on this build because I went back and forth on which fencing option I wanted to use. But I finally ended up using the corrugated iron fence mixed with the hedges. The hedges are just such a good fence to alternate with other fences, so highly recommend trying this out on your island. Hedges with the iron and stone fence, it didn't work for this build obviously, but if that is your style on your island, that is always a good combination. Same with the simple wooden fencing. Honestly, there are so many combinations you can do with alternating fencing, so if you haven't tried this yet, I definitely recommend giving it a try. All right, so we are going to wrap up this build and we will come back with the final product. So here we are, my build including all of the design tips from my fellow creators. I want to say thank you so much to Cora, Raven, Lex, Tiger, and Liz for joining me in today's video. I appreciate it so much. If you have not checked them out, I will have all of their channels linked down in the description. Please go check them out. Subscribe to them if you haven't already. They are all amazing. If you're struggling with an area on your island, I highly recommend using some or all of these tips in your build. It definitely helps out. How do we feel about the way that this area turned out? I really like it, almost enough to kind of recreate something similar on one of my islands. But what do y'all think? Leave it down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate if you'd like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!